Hello, welcome back to Buckle Up. My name's Jasper.
I'm Rob, and this is the new Volkswagen Touareg. And today we're going to find out if it's any good. So here at the front, Jasper,
Yes.
there's a big old grille.
There is, it's massive, isn't it? It goes...
It's very imposing.
Yeah, it goes across the entire width of the car and actually below the headlamp clusters in this upper section.
And in case you didn't know what kind of car it was,
Yeah.
it's got the biggest VW badge ever fitted to anything.
Yeah, that is impressively large.
Yeah.
And just to one side of that, you've got a sensor here, which has also got a jet sprayer for it, just to keep it clean.
Yeah.
You've got headlamp washers as well,
Yes.
which are very handy.
Many
And
luxury things.
I really like these light clusters with the little LED signature ticks underneath the bulbs. I think they look quite good.
Yeah, down here we've got a Greg's cheese and onion pasty because there's a bit of lattice work going on. There's also some actual air ducts going. Things are happening.
Yes, and it's probably also worth noting at this point that all of this is black because this is the black edition.
Yeah.
So you've got the R-line styling as designated with the badge, but it's all black. So all of the kind of highlighting elements on this are, well, less highlight, more black
There's
light.
no chrome.
No.
Chrome's bad,
Yes.
I've been told.
Well, here at the side, it's got some very strong crease lines along the entire vehicle. You've got this lovely little bit of raised section in the bonnet, but then this really strong pair of lines across the entire length.
Yes, you've also got 21-inch alloy wheels here. These have got some aero blade bits stuck in them.
Quite nice though.
Yeah.
Very, very good.
R badge, even though it's not an R.
Yeah, it's not an R.
Black stuff continues. Black mirror cap, black around the windows, black roof rails, dark glass at the back, tinted glass.
And this, the devil's fuel.
What, diesel?
Diesel.
Yeah, it's got
And an AdBlue.
It's got a proper engine. And here at the back, we've got a sporty spoiler. We've got a rear wiper. We've got this light bar that goes the full width of the rear. Touareg spelt out here on a script at the back. And these are actually exhausts down here. A bit more pastry work on the diffuser. But I'll open up the boot, which is electronic. And then do you want to tell the ladies and gentlemen how big it is?
Yes, so it's very spacious. I've got 810 litres of space back here with the rear seats in place. And if we fold those down, it goes all the way up to 1,800 litres.
Wow.
Which is quite impressive, yeah.
Yeah, there's buttons.
Yes, we have quite a few features in this boot. So we've got a 12-volt socket. Just below that, we've got buttons to raise and lower the rear air suspension.
If you've got an elderly dog.
Yes, and I've also got a button that I can press to pop out the electronic tow bar.
Ooh, nice.
Which is very handy.
You can tow 3.5 tons braked with one of these.
You can tow a proper big old trailer.
It's got a proper engine, that's why.
Yes, and then I've got kind of cubbies-ish a little bit in the boot. I've got tie-down points on this boot floor. There is a false floor, and it's got no load lip.
There's nothing under here, though, storage-wise, because you've got a space-saver spare wheel inflatory thingy. It's a wheel, but you have to blow the wheel up.
I'll take it.
Better than a junk kit.
Yeah, and then I've also got levers to allow me to fold down the rear seats from here.
Ooh.
And I've got fold-down hooks on both sides of the boot.
Wow.
So I can put a carrier bag on either side here. So it's a really practical space.
Yeah.
There's also a nice roll-top parcel cover as well.
There is. I'm going to go and sit in the back seats because I'm probably the best test of space.
Yeah.
No offence.
That's fine.
You're a tiny, tiny little man. I'm not. So I'll test those and you can test the front.
Okay.
Let's go inside. Well, here in the back, as you can probably tell, I have ample room, including headroom if I sit all the way up straight. My hair is just brushing up against this cutout where the sunroof sits. So this is a huge panoramic sunroof that goes the full length of the car. It's very cool. If you've got kids in the back, they'll like this. Leg room. This seat is set up in tiny, tiny Jasper's driving position, so there is a lot of room here, but even with me sat there, I would be comfortable enough. I've got Annette, she's on the back of this seat, and on the back of that seat she gets about. If I was having 3 people in here, this middle seat is obviously a little bit taller and quite flat, so it's not going to be the most comfortable if you were 3 up here. And there is a bit of a transmission tunnel here in the centre, but the footwells are actually quite big, so I wouldn't be too inconvenienced if the middle passenger wanted to shove his feet in my direction. I've also got a armrest here in the centre if he isn't, or she isn't, sat there, with 2 cup holders, so that's good as well. And there is, oh, where's there. So if you have long items, you can just fold the middle seat down and have 2 outer passengers. So that's very handy. If I fold that back, I've got huge door bins that I can fit a large bottle of water in. I've got nice materials on the doors. I've got air vents up here on the B pillar so I can direct them more at me. I've got a hook, I've got a light, I've got a grab handle, I've got another hook, I've got some lovely ambient lighting, and then here in the middle is the pièce de résistance, because I have air vents and I have buttons to control them. It's not a screen or something stupid like that. So if I want to put my heated seat on, I press a button. If I want to change the temperature, I press a button, or the fan speed, or the direction, everything. It's fantastic. I like this because it's quite old school. It's a proper car. Anyway, Jasper's going to talk about the front now.
So, up front, it's a mixture. I've got some old school elements, but some quite new and very fancy elements as well. So, in the centre console, I've got some large cup holders. They are very good, and they've got LED ambient lighting around them. I've got a strip of LED ambient lighting along the dashboard, and that glides round into my door cards as well. Lovely materials up here, stitched leather on the seats, very comfortable, electrically adjustable, and very supportive and pretty sporty too. When it comes to proper buttons, I've got a refreshingly old school and very chunky feeling shift lever down here. I've got an engine start stop button. I've got a hazard light switch and my traction control button. That's a big traction control off button for a VW product. I'm quite impressed. There's a nice rotary volume knob down here, which is really clicky and satisfying to use, and then over on this side I've got a controller for my air suspension, and here I've got one to allow me to select off-road or on-road drive modes. Practicality is pretty reasonable. I've got a covered storage cubby up front with a 12-volt socket and a USB Type-C charging port in it. I've got an armrest which has got another 2 USB Type-C ports in it for connecting to the infotainment system, and there's a little bit of storage space down here. The door bins are massive. You'll get a good 750ml bottle of water in those, no problem. They're felt lined at the bottom, and you've got some space behind that for other stuff. You've got air vents underneath the screen in the centre of the dashboard, and air vents across the top of the dashboard for the passenger, and below those a really good sized glove box, proper felt lined as well, so a very nice practical interior in that respect. Where it comes to some of the more modern stuff, you've got a large digital drivers cluster and a massive infotainment cluster in the centre. This is VW's latest system. It's really well integrated in here. It's not like they've stuck an iPad on the dashboard. This is beautifully tied into the design language of the cabin, which is generally quite refreshingly old school, but then you've got these brilliant elements of modern technology integrated. This system is pretty good. The menus are slick, it swipes through nice and quickly, and it responds when you tap things, so it does work quite fast. However, I do have a couple of gripes. The climate control, while in the back you've got proper buttons, down here it's all integrated into the bottom of the screen. It is permanently there at least, but I prefer proper buttons. They've given me buttons elsewhere, why not there as well? And then on the steering wheel, I've got capacitive buttons with haptic feedback. So yeah, they work, but again, proper buttons would have been nicer to see. At the bottom of my steering wheel, I've got an R emblem, and that matches up nicely with the stitched R in the seats. So quite a nice old school, but with some elements of brand new modern technology that are really quite nicely integrated. And if they just gave me proper buttons as well, I'd absolutely love it in here. But as it stands, this is a pretty impressive and very luxurious feeling cabin. Let's fire her up and see how she drives.
Right, you're now driving the Touareg.
Touareg,
I've heard people say Touareg, and they are definitely wrong.
Yes.
What do you think? You used to have a Range Rover.
I did.
You've driven the new Cayenne.
I have.
I've driven the Range Rover Sport.
Well,
I think they're a bit above this, but
it feels like a refreshingly honest large SUV.
Yeah, it's very old school. I like that. Shall I talk you through? I've got the spec sheet. I know you like it when I've got the spec sheet.
I like a spec sheet myself. Yeah.
So we have a longitudinally mounted 3-litre turbocharged 6-cylinder common rail diesel engine.
Yes, you can tell it's a low grumble that's present, but it's quite muted.
Yeah, we've got an 8-speed Tiptronic
with flappy paddles.
Oh yeah, go on, give it a. Oh, hello. Ooh, growls.
Yeah, you can make it rev and growl.
It does growl, doesn't it?
Yes.
So we've got 286 PS, which is actually weirdly the same as what you get in the EVs in a certain power band. I don't know why they've stuck on 286, but they have.
Alignment across the models.
You've got 600 Newton meters of torque.
That's a healthy number.
It is.
That's a good amount of twist.
That means that you can push this car from 0 to 60 in 6.4 seconds, which is particularly impressive because it weighs 2.1 tons.
Yeah, I think for something of this size, 0 to 62 in 6.4 seconds is actually really quite impressive for a diesel as well.
Yeah. Top speed 147. So if you live somewhere
like Germany,
then do whatever you want to do. Things that might be of interest to people who buy these kind of cars.
Yes.
The fuel tank is 75 litres.
Big old tank.
So that's quite handy if you are doing a lot of driving.
Yes, I think this said at the moment it could do 450 miles and we don't even have a full tank.
No, so that's good. If you are driving on the continent.
Yes.
You'll be able to do that. Obviously the boot's massive, we've talked about that, so that's all lovely. How does it feel?
It feels really good. It feels quite firm, but this is the R-Line with... this is the black edition, which obviously has massive wheels, and you've got air suspension, so it soaks up the bumps in the road pretty well.
Yes, how do we make it? Can we make it soft?
I think we can... I think it's just height adjustable, actually.
Is that all it does?
Yeah. Oh, I can change it to off-road height.
Let's not do that.
No, let's not do that. Let's do level road.
Yeah.
I don't think it's softness. I think it's just height.
Right.
The steering wheel is not telling me much, but I wouldn't expect it from a car like this.
No.
It's a nice steering wheel to hold.
Yeah.
And the cabin is certainly very practical, but it just feels like a proper car, doesn't it?
It does. This screen, because it's here, not like it is in the other ID VW models where it's just an iPad that's been stuck on the dashboard. It just looks better. It looks more integrated.
It's so well integrated,
There's loads of room in here.
Yeah.
It's wide.
Yeah, we're far enough apart.
Yeah, I don't feel like I'm too close to you, which is always a good thing.
Yes, absolutely.
Did you know that this has a 500mm wading depth? Or 580 if you get the optional air suspension.
That's quite impressive. So we've got the air suspension, and actually something I did notice, the doors at the bottom are double sealed. So that will be where that wading depth comes from.
So it does have a bit of off-road grade because it's got a dial.
It's got an actual off-road mode. So most of these modes are... No, that's eco. Most of these modes... Yeah, of course.
It meant it could drive over trees.
Most of these modes are just different road modes.
Yes.
But so we're in normal at the moment. Yes. We've got sport, individual, off-road, snow, handy, eco, your trees and leaves, comfort, and then all the way back to normal again.
Right.
So good selection there, I'd say. I like the digital gauge cluster as well, and I've got a heads-up display. It's a small heads-up display, but it does tell me the important things. Good. The gauge cluster is very good, really nicely integrated, and the graphics in here are pretty good as well, actually. Yeah. Everything responds quite nicely too.
It does. It does. I just wish they had physical climate controls.
Yeah, that's my main gripe here, because the rest of it's so well done. It's like if they just made these bits proper buttons, I'd love it. Love it.
Do you know how much this car costs?
I suspect it's probably quite expensive. Yeah, I'm guessing 80 something.
Oh no, you're wrong.
Oh
no, it is. So the car, the car is £70,000, but by the time you've put the extras on that this one is fitted with, it is £83,000. You can get this with a petrol plug-in, can't you?
Yes, you
as well,
can.
if you want
Yeah.
to be eco.
So the only two engines available are both 3-litre V6s.
Yeah.
One is diesel and one is a plug-in hybrid.
Yes.
It's a very sedate, relaxing and comfortable driving experience, I think.
Yes.
This is the kind of car that you could easily just crunch motorway miles in.
Oh,
and
yeah.
you've got fully adaptive cruise control over here as well.
Yeah. Do you know how many Touaregs they've sold?
I suspect it's quite a lot because it's a really popular car for people who've got a large family and maybe a caravan or a trailer
Went
or
on
something.
sale in 2002.
It's going to be a good few 100,000, I'd hazard a guess.
1.13 million. That's quite a lot, isn't it?
That is, yes. I am impressed. But I can see why they've sold so many because it's a very...
You were going to say it was a nice place to be.
No, I was not. I was
I
not.
could hear
it's
the way
a
that
very
sentence was going.
good all-rounder.
It is, yeah. And with that, shall we go and do a conclusion?
I think we should, yes.
Excellent. Well, the Touareg. What do you think, Jasper?
I really like it.
I like it a lot as well. It's just like nice to get into a car
Yeah.
that's big and
Comfortable, capable. It's big and it's got a lot of presence as well, I think.
yeah.
I like the design.
It's unapologetic for what it is. Obviously, this won't be around much longer, probably. But while it is, it's worth looking at if you just want a car that'll do lots of miles. It's got a diesel engine. Yes, it's not the most economical. Yes, it's killing polar bears, but it's quite good.
It's very good at what it wants to be.
Yes, and we must reward it for that it's still being made in this day and age, at least. So if you have enjoyed the video, make sure to give it a like. Comment down below and let us know your thoughts on the Touareg, but most importantly, please do subscribe to the Buckle Up YouTube channel and ding the notification bell so you never miss one of our uploads.
There are a few other ways you can support the channel, so if you go down to that video description, all of our social medias are linked there. Please do go and follow us on all of those. We've got a merchandise store where you can buy things with a Buckle Up logo on them, so please go and do that. Or if you want to stay on YouTube, you can become a channel member right here. But that's everything, I think. So
yeah, I actually managed to get through the video without talking about how ill I am.
yeah, nearly.
Yeah.
So we'll see you next time, unless Rob dies of his illness. Bye.
Bye.